Okay, thank you, everybody. That was so beautiful as always, and how amazing was yesterday and every day, actually. So I want to, I feel privileged again to introduce to you Malka Sima. Malka Sima, is it Pais? Pais, Malka Sima?
Pais.
Yeah, Pais. Lives in the Golan Heights, which is unbelievable, with her husband and lively teenage children. She graduated from Cornell University and is a relational somatic therapist, a Shake Your Soul dance instructor, and a facilitator of workshops in Kabbalah and inner knowing online and in Israel. She empowers women to access calm, joy, and healing in the sacred relationship between body and soul, self and other, and the divine. Thank you so much, Malka Sima. Every time I read these things, it's like, how beautiful did Hashem make? Right? Look at the neshamas of the Jewish women. It's just like, I don't know. It's like a taste. We can't even taste what the Shekhinah is. It's like a taste of the different parts making up the Shekhinah, and it's so unbelievable. So thank you so much. I look forward to it. I'm putting myself off. Go ahead.
Thank you, Naomi. It really is a pleasure and a salute to be here. And I'm actually I'm not in Eretz Yisrael now. I'm actually in Portugal, and I want to just take a couple of minutes to dedicate these teachings to the Ilui Nishama of my beloved father-in-law, who passed at the beginning a few weeks ago. We came to be with him, and we're still here with my mother-in-law. So it should be Ilui Nishmat Jose ben Armando. And I'll just say a couple of words about him. My husband's family is from Bnei Anusim, Marranos. They were the hidden Jews. And his family, the village that his family was in for generations, someone did genealogical research and traced his family line back to the Inquisition. He growing up, the neighborhood boys would call him the Jew boy. He had Brit Milah, and there was no doctor in the village, and it wasn't the custom, but he had Brit Milah. His grandfather wore this funny hat. As my husband started making tshuva, he wasn't told he was a Jew, but he had all of these pieces. At the age of 13, his parents sent him to Mozambique, which was a Portuguese colony, alone to Mozambique, to be actually with an uncle there, the family, and who was abusive. And he moved out. He worked in the day to support his place to live, and he went to school at night. He just had many hardships throughout his life. He immigrated to three other countries. And each time he just made such amazing connections. His friends became family. His generosity, his playfulness, his just such an inspiration of how through hardship one can just come through shining. So this is in his memory. And
so Malka Sima, this was your husband's father that you're telling this whole story, how he went to Mozambique and etc. So how did it come full circle? Like, can you tell us a little bit more? It's fascinating. Can you just give us a few more?
Well, my mother-in-law as well, and her family, after my husband, she was born in Mozambique but the Portuguese colony. As my husband at the age of 13 started reading Tanakh and getting interested, I don't know, he met some Israelis, and he had heard drops and hints, we're Jewish, kind of, there were some different family members, and when he started making tshuva, so all different family members said, oh yeah, we're Jewish too. All the stories. And my husband's done DNA testing and all the connections there. It's just fascinating. we're going for Shabbat to Belmont, which is the only community in Portugal that stayed from that time, stayed as a community. The Jews kept their identification as a community. Yeah.
Do the Jews, Malka, Sima, do the Jews, a lot of these Marranos, do they know, like, is it talked about, or is it so far already that it's just not, it's not addressed anymore?
Right. Well, some, yes. And like I said, after my husband started identifying as a Jew, and, keeping mitzvot. And so then other friends and family then said, oh yeah, we're Jewish. Oh yeah, my mother was Jewish, or always said we're Jew. Before, nobody spoke about it. It wasn't really, even my father-in-law, who had these stories, in retrospect, oh yeah, the kids would call me a Jew in the neighborhood. My grandfather, Abraham, with the funny hat that he would always wear in the house.
Wow.
But it wasn't, and now there's this genealogy that literally has the family line all the way back to the Inquisition. And a number, like different, there's all the different kind of pathways and how they connect. Yeah, it is very fascinating.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I want to bring, I want to bring today about tapping into Shabbat consciousness. So I'm going to do my best to stay focused, because I tend to make many connections and encircle. I have much to say about it. And I want to bring also a somatic kind of a body awareness exercise practice to do here together today. So I'm going to start. We know there's a mitzvah to prepare for Shabbat and during the week. And usually that's sort of more physical preparations, cleaning, getting the Shabbat candles ready, going to the shuk, getting the fine piece of meat, getting how we prepare, ironing our clothing. And I want to bring in the spiritual, kind of that's the doing preparation. And I want to bring the side of the being preparation for Shabbat. And there's an idea of Shabbat Shabbat, that there is this on the inner planes. Shabbat is kind of present during the week as well on the inner planes. And how do we tap into that? And part of the ways, Shabbat is about unity. And so how do we, as we have all these kind of our experiences, our moments, how do we bring those soul sparks? How do we integrate the soul sparks during the week and kind of clear some of the static of something that was disturbing happened, distressing, as well, if something beautiful happened, how do we integrate them in a way so that when we arrive at Shabbat, our vessel, we've been integrating the lights consciously during the week. So when Shabbat comes,
okay, we'll see. How do they work? Thank you.
Malka Sima, I by mistake muted you because I was muting somebody else. Could you unmute? Malka Sima?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry about that.
That's okay. I'm not sure where did you hear me? Where did I get cut off? Or I'll rewind a moment.
Integrating the week into Shabbat. Integrating the week into Shabbat, and how do you integrate what happens at the joy during the week? That's where you ended.
Thank you. Because often the distressing moments kind of stay as these thoughts, worries, a knot in my stomach from that conversation I had, or a tension in my shoulders, or when we don't integrate our experience, so they don't just go away. They're still in our kind of field of consciousness or subconscious. And so how do we connect to them and integrate those pieces to expand our vessel to be able to receive the light of Shabbat. So the parts of Shabbat that I want to kind of zero in on today is Kabbalah. We start with Kabbalat Shabbat. It's a time of receiving, of listening in, tuning in, receiving, listening to what Hashem, his presence, receiving Hashem's presence, receiving, as Nomi said, the Shekhinah's presence. It's a time of connection. Shabbat is the only Chag day that's spoken about as an actual Shabbat Kala. We go out to greet Shabbat Kala, Shabbat Malka. We escort her out. She speaks to Hashem. She says I believe it's a midrash, every other day has a zug, which day is my zug. She has a presence. She's I don't want to say a person, but she has there's something about relationship with Shabbat. And the piece that it's a heightened time of connecting body and soul. So at different times throughout Shabbat, Nishmat Kochai is one of them, that the Neshama Yetera kind of comes in stages. And the first is at candlelighting. And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, he says that why do women, there's many different Perushim, commentaries on why women have the mitzvah of candlelighting. And he says it's because women have this special koach of connecting body and soul. And, we see that in birthing, giving birth to being a part of the creation of bringing a new life, a soul coming into a body, into the world. And I believe in general that that's really all of Am Yisrael, that's our tafkid, is to embody the soul lights, to bring, the spiritual, to be the mishkan for Hashem in this world. And women have a special koach in doing that. And the candles represent, it says, Ner Hashem Nishmat Adam, that Hashem's candle, a person's soul, is Hashem's candle, flame. And so the candle represents, with the flame reaching up and connecting through the wick and the oil, is like the goof. And so that's another point. I'm going to close it and come back to it, of the special koach that women have, and of Shabbat, of connecting body and soul. And there's this different metaphysical reality of Shabbat, on Shabbat, where the klipa, we get kind of disentangled from the illusion of darkness, of evil, where I heard a beautiful, I think, Rav Shimshon Pinchus, he says it's like when you're in a movie, a horror movie, and the lights are out and it's scary, and then the lights come on, and it's just, oh, that was a movie, that wasn't real. The light is real. And so that's the other aspect, and that I spoke about, kind of clearing the static of the disentanglement from the klipa, from how do we touch into that during the week. And that's something that we're gonna do in the exercise. Okay, so the embodiment piece, like, why through the body? Why? What is it? Oftentimes the body is seen as almost the culprit, or so it takes us away from our soul, from our soul's work. It's the animal soul. It's lesser than. I from my work as a somatic therapist, and from teachings of Tzadok Cohen, different teachings on Ruach HaKodesh, it's called Hevle de Garma, which is the breath of the bones. That our Ruach HaKodesh, it lives in our bones. And we know we have a gut instinct. We say, oh, I had a feeling in my stomach, something wasn't right. So much of our body has a wisdom to share with us when we listen in, and our body is the kli again, for the spiritual. This world is spiritual. On Shabbat, if we open our eyes, everything is Hashem, is in everything and in every moment. So I'm going to guide us shortly in exercise of kind of tuning into our own body's wisdom as a support and as again the container, a vessel to hold the light, and as in the grounding of that light, being able, whatever's happening now around me, whatever the kind of what we see on what comes at us in the week of chaos is a strong word, but the whatever's thrown at us that kind of throws us off kilter during the week, when we have the connection to ground and presence and connect that to Hashem's presence in that moment, so it just makes everything a way of connecting to Hashem, a way of raising sparks, a way of growing, of understanding what's my tikkun, what's the next step through a way of growth, and really experiencing that, having the ground, having the to receive that. So in the kind of the steps of that I'm going to propose here and invite us throughout our days, as we often tend to kind of push through and keep going, and even if I'm tired and need to sit down, or not even stopping for the 1 minute it takes me to run to the bathroom, or to take transition time, pause points in between to tap into the Shabbat Shabachol. So the first is stopping, to stop, vayinafash. When candle lighting time comes, everything's done. We don't, we just stop. That's the invitation to stop. So creating a space for that in our day, to stop, to feel the completion of what just happened. The next step, I would say, breathe, conscious breath. Nishama and nishima, the words in Hebrew are of soul and breath, are the same root. And so, and the breath, it's something that happens subconsciously. We don't have to think about our breathing in order to breathe. And at the same time, we can consciously connect to our breath. We can invite a deeper breath. We can make it go faster. And it also, our whole nervous system is tuned in when I breathe faster. So it gets a little message. My body gets a message of alarm, of the adrenaline might start to flow. And if I take a deep cleansing breath, which kind of comes naturally, a sigh, when I'm feeling calmer or something settled, and I can invite that sigh to that deeper breath to calm my nervous system, to release some tension. So the breath is a wonderful, and also presence. The last time I taught here, we did a meditation from that the Chavetz Chaim brings from the Zohar in connection to the first mitzvah of the Shulchan Aruch, of using the vowels of Hashem's name, the vowels of Yirah together with Hashem's name. So every time also when we stop and take a conscious breath, connecting that with the Yi and the Va of, it's another teaching, maybe Nomi has it recorded. But it's an opportunity to connect our presence, our stopping and becoming present with Hashem's presence in that moment. And the last piece is to feel, because again, we are in these bodies. And especially women, Hashem put these kind of nerve endings and pleasure, feelings of pleasure all over our bodies. And again, for Shabbat, Rashi says, why do we need a neshama yetera? Is because we eat extra, we might have an extra bowl of chamim, of cholent, or for the extra food that we eat needs a place to go. So we get an extra neshama, and we know oneg Shabbat is through eating, through intimate relations. It's a spiritual delight that's experienced in the physical. And so again, consciously tuning into our physical reality, and which I'll lead you in. I think that's the best way of experiencing, but as a way again of getting to know this container, getting to know how these experiences live in me and how I can integrate them in a way to find connection with myself. And when I'm more settled and connected in myself, then I'm at a place that I can connect with an other. And it's the actual, the feeling of connection. It's a part of our nervous system. If we're in fight or flight, if we're in a state of distress, the part of our nervous system that allows for connection is shut off. So this part of coming into the body allows for then the connection with another and connection with Hashem. Okay. So I'm going to invite you, and if it's comfortable, it can always help to close the eyes as a way of tuning in. It's a more of a right-brained way of knowing, the body knowing, kind of accessing more of the subconscious, and less the left brain with its verbal. Can be more limited in accessing that part of us. So I'm going to invite you to start with closing your eyes. And just noticing any part of your body, maybe your bottom is supported by the seat of your chair or whatever you're sitting on. If any part of your back is being supported by a chair. Maybe your feet are touching the ground. Noticing your breath. Noticing the rhythm of your breath, if it's faster, slower, without trying to change it or fix it. Just noticing what it's like to be in my body at this moment. And if you're familiar with, or any meditations that you might use on your own, or with the one from the Shulchan Aruch of using Hashem's name, you might choose to bring that in. The yi and the va, or the yi and the wa. And now I'm gonna invite you to choose an experience. It might have happened already this morning, today. It may be something from last week, something that was just slightly, I don't want to use something too distressing, but say if 1 was, oh, it was nothing, and 10 was, whoa, I never want that to experience that again. Somewhere like a 3 and a 4. An experience that just put you off a little, that felt, and that you'd like a little support to bring us some light to that place, if it's still maybe lingering, that experience. And as you bring this experience to awareness, might noticing in your body, maybe if there was any place of tension, maybe your breath shifted, your jaw tightened, and you can kind of do a short, we don't have a lot of time here but a short body scan, as we say, kind of bringing the light through your keter, through the crown of the head, and just kind of noticing as you tune in to bring to awareness this experience that you had, the situation, whether it was with maybe someone at work, one of your children, on the phone, with your husband, or something that's just not sitting well in you. and where in your body that you might sense. And if you don't sense, that's also just to be aware of that. Bring awareness that I'm not feeling it in my body right now. I'm going to invite you. We have many layers, kind of dimensions of self, and one of them is the nervous system. So if you notice as you recall this memory, does it bring with it a sense of as the sympathetic, the fight or flight, maybe an anxiety, or maybe you notice the heartbeat's a little tightness, a clenching, if it's that kind of energy. Another part of our nervous system is the dorsal, the parasympathetic, that's more of a maybe a little numbing out, a little kind of spacing out when you remember it, maybe some despair, maybe the shoulders kind of hunch forward a little. I'm kind of noticing what part of the nervous system becomes activated as you recall this experience, how it lives in your body. And noticing any emotional quality. So what if there, as you remember, maybe some anger comes up, sadness, fear. And just bringing kind of a gentle curiosity about that. We might even say, hello, sadness. Welcome. Kind of giving it some space as a way of bringing light to it, as a way of disentangling. We spoke about from the klipa. The sadness is here. It's present in me and it's not me. I can be in relationship with it versus it kind of overcoming. And you might ask into any parts of this, levels of this exploration, whether it's the physical, the tenseness, or the emotion, the nervous system, and ask. So say the tension, maybe tension in my jaw, and say, why are you here? What have you come to teach me? Kind of listening into the body's wisdom, its way of the body just trying to take care of us in the way that it knows how, in a pattern that it might have, that might be many years old. I'm kind of asking in, or sadness, what have you come to teach me? Kind of allowing for a place that Hashem, that this experience is here to help me grow. And when you feel ready, you might transform kind of this knowing into a prayer, whether it's a prayer of gratitude, if you felt, maybe felt touched by being in connection, bringing your own presence, your own place of, and I guess I didn't say we want, with the why are you here? There's a bit of a mini cheshbon nefesh. And in this, we brought something that might have been more distressing, that might have been a challenge, something we might have preferred to have done different or said differently or not said. And just holding it with a lot of compassion as well for our own humanness. Kind of bringing a loving connection to that place. And then inviting a prayer, whether it's of gratitude for maybe that relationship, even if that wasn't easy, but that you have that would, thank God, children, or maybe a prayer for tshuva, help me to do it different next time. Might be a prayer for the other person to do tshuva. Hashem should bless them with loving compassion and with a ratzon, with a desire to do tshuva themselves. And just I want to leave some time for questions. I had a question of whether to also do this, but you know what? Let's stay inside. Let's also do it with a positive experience. So as you kind of close up, and maybe later you'll want to journal about the reflections on this experience. Journal or speak with someone, share with someone. I use art exploration in my therapy practice, movement. And for now, just letting this piece be complete. And I think we're gonna do it again, just in a bit faster, but choosing also a positive, something joyful that happened. Like today, Shabbat, last week, something that you'd like to also integrate, because so often we just keep going and we don't always even notice or get to have the pleasure, the hana'ah of receiving Hashem's chesed in that moment. Or something maybe you did that was a challenge for you that you overcame and you did it anyways. Finding a moment where that cues to your nervous system, joy, a sense of safety, a sense of connection. A cheshbon nefesh is just as much about these nikudot tovot. And as you recall this, I guess we can say more positive memory, or more pleasant maybe memory. And again, noticing, is there a place in my body that maybe softens? Is there a place where this memory lives in my body that I notice kind of comes alive? What happens to my breath? Noticing the emotional quality. Maybe a giddy excitement or a sense of peace. There may be a voice that comes with this, a song, a sigh, noticing if there's the expression in that way. I'm noticing I'm kind of rocking a little. There's some movement that happens as I connect to this place in me. And then bringing again, inviting a prayer, maybe of gratitude, maybe to have more experiences like this, more moments of connection. And just taking a few more moments to kind of savor, let it seep in it can be like a sponge that can kind of soak it in. The cells of your body can soak in this feeling of connection or gratitude or joy or whatever it was that came for you. And so that we can have a few minutes for questions, I'm going to invite you to, just again, feel your body on the chair or whatever you're sitting on. You might move your body if it wants to stretch a little, or allow it to kind of organically move, release anything that's in there. And gently opening your eyes. Come back and kind of being aware that although we might not see everyone on the call, that this was an experience in connection with other women. There was a Shekhinah energy of women coming together to learn Torah, to be present with what is, be present with Hashem. And I'll open it up, whether either through the chat or if people want to chime in, and I guess, or ask questions, and I'll just give a blessing before then that, as Hanukkah comes, the light of Hanukkah, and we light those candles again where the flame is connecting, is rising up, and kind of a time of meditation on the lights and being present with Hashem's just love for us, bringing light into the darkness, our own bringing light. That's what we're doing. That's what these exercises, we're doing it all the time, whether we know it or not, but intentionally, consciously bringing light into the darkness. Okay, I have a few minutes. I have to go at 2 for a client, or 2 in Portugal in a few minutes. But if anybody has questions or reflections, sharing of their experience.
Michaliba, do you want to ask something?
Oh, sorry. No, I didn't realize I was. No. Beautiful. But hi, Malka, Sima.
Hi, Michaliba.
Yes.
You should be well.
Another question. Oh, I do.
Yes. Oh.
I have a question. Yeah. Who's going to go first?
We only have a few minutes, so go ahead.
Okay. So my question is, what is the question to ask about? There's an experience I had that is still lingering with me about it. One of it's a 2-part about belonging, not feeling it, and feeling really rejected after saying, not coming out, but after hinting to somebody's sister, I really wanted to go to this affair. And then she didn't do anything about it. And then when I was there, not at the affair, but in the city where the affair was, I really felt sad that I thought I wasn't invited. And it was also the fact that there was somebody there who had it been me, I would have called the hostess and said, look, so-and-so's visiting. Could she please come? She really wants to come.
I'm going to pause you here. I think, again, just bringing this process and it with the where do I feel this, you had some words, belonging, rejection. Maybe you put a hand on the heart as a way of, that's a wonderful way of connection.
I did during this process. I really did.
Beautiful instinct, beautiful impulse. And again, exploring, there are other, as I mentioned, through journaling, through art exploration, there are other ways, but just this, where do I feel it in my body? Being with that experience that you had of rejection, of maybe not belonging, that's the bringing the consciousness and the light there brings the healing to our whole nervous system. We experience it in a whole different way when it's met with connection, when it's met. Yeah. And we can bring that connection. I mean, it's also the importance of doing it with another. And on our own, there's a lot of healing and transformation that happens through bringing consciousness.
Okay, can I just say, when the host saw me a few days later, we were together, he said, Ariella, why weren't you there? I burst out crying. I couldn't stop crying for like a long time. I said, you must think I'm a basket case.
Wow. Yeah.
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 Can I
Well,
tell?
Thank you for sharing, Ariella. Yeah. And
Thank you.
Can I
I
tell
think,
something?
Galina, I think Charlene was waiting already, so just
Yes,
give Charlene
sure.
the chance and then you'll go next. But we only
Thank you
have
so
literally
much.
2
Yes.
minutes. We
I will
literally
give
have
30
2 minutes.
seconds. Okay, thank you so much, Naomi.
Go ahead, Charlene.
Okay, I have a question. You mentioned if you could elaborate a little bit on Ruach HaKodesh in the mare or in the bone, because I had an accident. The women know and every day I say, Kol atzmotai tomarna Hashem mi kamocha. And when we did the meditation I felt I wanted to know more about what is this Ruach HaKodesh in the bones. And also I had this vision, I don't know, some transformation. It has to do with my relationship with my son. Something came up in my head, or I don't know. It was like a tree, but it had little pieces of like children artwork, little pom-poms of different colors. It just came up in front of me. So I want to know more about the bone. What is the Ruach HaKodesh in the bones?
so one, in just in a bite-sized morsel.
Yes.
I also want to offer, if you have colors, paper and colors to draw, you don't have to be an artist, just kind of to express that out on the paper can be a wonderful way of meeting whatever that image came to teach you or to be with you. It can bring it to another dimension. And Ruach HaKodesh, I mean, I don't know, how do I say it in a morsel? The way that it's described, I mean, there's so many pieces that I could bring, but it's the luz bone. They say that the light of Gan Eden and the luz bone.
Oh my God.
Like a tzaddik, you know, a kever of a tzaddik, the soul's essence. It's also part of Tchiyat HaMeitim that touched you. Something touched you there. Yeah.
Okay, let's quickly, Malka, Sima, let's just quickly give Galina, because it's 9 o'clock, you have to get off.
Yeah, and I'd like to just offer my email if anyone wants to be in touch, my phone number, my email. I'm happy to continue the conversation.
Thank you.
Galina, go
Thank you.
ahead.
Second. Thank you so much. I want to tell her, when I get rejection or something, I tell myself, it's not the person who rejects me. This is Hashem way that the person did this to me. This is Hashem way. There is something better for me. There is Hashem way that He wants me to change myself, to look what I did wrong. I connect with Hashem and I don't blame anyone. And I tell what I did something, maybe I did something. I look inside, and after, if I cannot find that I did something wrong, I tell this is Hashem way, and He wants me to accept whenever He have for me.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a beautiful and it's very strong and Amuna-centered way. And Amuna, to the extent that our nervous system, our body still say, if I say this is from Hashem and it's okay, and I know it's okay, but still my body is going, or I'm still have a stomach, or I'm still bursting out in anger later in the day, we want to align that knowing that I know this is from Hashem with a body knowing, with a full experience of feeling that connection, feeling that knowing in my letting go of tension, in my so that's the idea, is to combine that left brain adult Amuna, Mochin, the Gadlut consciousness, the adult God-centered consciousness, with a part of us that maybe as a child didn't know that, or is still holding that I am